Well, a super strong contingent of Japanese horses will be at Del Mar for the World Championships. International expert Peter Thomas Fornatale is across all of them. And Pete, a couple in particular have caught your eye from the Hideyuki Mori stable. Can you run us through who's coming over from Japan from that stable?
Well, it's going to be interesting. You say super strong, and I would say super interesting, right? Because it's one of the great things about the Breeders' Cup, how they really are the Olympics of horse racing in so many ways. You get this Ryder Cup type of a vibe, and having increased international participation is a good thing. So I like the idea of horses coming over and taking their chances. I do think they're going to have an absolutely massive chance in one race. We'll talk about that in another video. But as for this quartet of runners, they're interesting, I think, more than their horses I'm necessarily going to bet on. Let's start off by talking about Jasper Great. We're going to run in the juvenile. Interesting pedigree, first of all. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to see many Arrogates compete at the Breeders' Cup because of what happened in his stallion career. But this one has a very interesting pedigree, being by Arrogate and a half to Power Broker, a horse that had some very nice juvenile form. So that's encouraging. Also encouraging is the fact that this one won on debut, going 9 furlongs, and did so winning by 10 lengths in the only start. Here's the problem, though. Races can be visually impressive and not so impressive on the clock. That winning time of that debut run, 3 seconds slower than the decent 3-year-old race later on the card, with horses carrying the same weight. The talent is clear. What's not clear is the class level of Jasper Great. For me, at the end of the day, would be a surprise.
All right. Well, there's another one by the name of Jasper Prince, who we recall contested the sprint at Keenan last year, but steps up to the mile this time. If I remember correctly, it was around about 70-1 and led them into the stretch and tailed out for a distant last.
Finished last year. There's a chance they can do better than that. That's one of the nicer things I can say about Jasper Prince. The mile should suit, that's for sure. We got a horse who's a triple listed stakes winner back home, but not graded. And that doesn't bode well for me in a test against a monster like Life is Good. Jasper Prince, going to be a big price once again in this year's Dirt Mile.
Another one in the Dirt Mile, Ping Shong, the 4-year-old son of Speightstown. What do you think of his chances?
A decent year and has some talent, 3 for 5 in allowance races. But once again, when you're talking about listed races, allowance races, and then you're coming here to run an away game against some of the best horses in the world, hard to imagine that form is going to stack up against these.
Another son of Speightstown is Matera Sky, who ran 8th in the sprint at Santa Anita in 2019, so returns to California with some stronger form behind it in recent times. What do you think of Matera Sky's chances?
You can cherry pick the form and make a case for Matera Sky. 7-year-old, and you look at the 2 Saudi Riyadh dirt sprints, getting second in those, second in Dubai to the ill-fated XY Jet. There is probably a case that to be made. You know, it's like, if you see it, you can squint for this horse to maybe be able to get a small piece. Here's the problem, though. The form of those Saudi races not really has worked out great. And on the current form, for me, just too much to find with the likes of Jackie's Warrior. And for a horse that is going to probably try to be up there in the vanguard, runs the risk of getting the doors blown off by the likes of Jackie's Warrior. Matera Sky is a super cool horse, easy to root for, would be a real surprise for me here.
Hey, can you see Matera Sky being on the speed?
I think that Jackie's Warrior ultimately is going to prove too fast. I think that if Matera Sky tries to run with him, the day is going to be over very early. I do think they will try, and who knows, sometimes even horses that finish way back, they end up having to make other speed runners work a little bit too hard early. So could he be a pace factor? Yes, but I don't think he's going to be around when they get to the turn.
Fair enough. Well, whether you think it's an interesting or a super strong contingent, one thing is for sure, that Japanese form is to be respected. Horses always do perform really well on the world stage. PDF, thank you once again for your insights, and we look forward to hearing more from you on the international contingent descending on Del Mar. Twin Spires is your place to bet every single race of Breeders. You can get your bet back if the horse you bet to win finishes second or third, and that offer is going to be available on all races. To opt in and to see all the T's and C's, visit twinspires.com or download the Twin Spires app.